In this lesson, I'm going to take a double approach where I take this shape from the last lesson and teach you a few technique exercises using those shapes, and also a few ways that you can use to improvise in a sort of soul R&B style. So let's take the first shape. It's this one here, and it's just an A Mixolydian mode. Don't be too confused by the name of it. We'll just learn it like this. It looks almost exactly the same as a major scale, just has a flattened seventh. So that's a good way to learn that one. And the first exercise we have here, and you can download these via the link below, is just playing that in thirds, like this. Just at the end there, you have to stretch a little bit out of one finger per fret, so watch out for that. I also have a backing track to give you for this lesson, and you can use that to play over it. That doesn't sound like a bass line, but this next one sounds a little bit more like one. This is how it goes. Everything lies under the fingers quite nicely there. We're just using eighth notes. There's a tie there and alternate plucking. That one with the backing track sounds like this. Now that was just me taking the shape, the Mixolydian mode, one octave, and just using that set of notes, not going out of the octave, just using those notes to improvise. So something like this. The beginning of the exercise, we're just taking that idea. Since we're in the key of A, I suppose you could play that 5th fret E string note open as well if you want. Creating a bit of a groove that repeats by playing fewer notes. That's more of a real world application of this. You know, you take some notes, just use a few of them, come up with a repetitive line, and you have a cool bass line. Next we have the 7th arpeggio that comes from that Mixolydian mode. Just take the 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th notes out of that scale or mode, and you have a dominant 7th arpeggio. The chord going through this backing track is just one, it's just A7 or A dominant 7th, and they fit together perfectly. So here is the exercise. Pay attention to the finger numbers of the fretting hand. 1, 2, 1, 4. Then it's that same thing up the octave. 1, 2, 1, 4. There, the first finger again is stretching out to the G, that flat 7. Alternate plucking all the way, and then back down. Now if you want, if you're finding that too easy, then double the speed to 16th notes. Equally, if it's too difficult, just take your time with it and don't overstretch. If you feel any sort of pain going on in the wrist there, then you might need to stop for the day. Take it nice and easy, shift if you need to. Kind of crawling our fingers diagonally across the neck there. Now, I really urge you to understand and know the chord tones within those notes. So the A is the root. The G is the flat 7. And it just happens to be 2 frets lower than the root. Just know that. And know where the major third is. And the 5th. Octave, or where the root starts again. It's that flat 7 again. Do you remember I told you 2 frets lower than the root note? You could just make up a bass line using those notes. That's a line just using all of those notes from that exercise there. You could probably hear at the end when I just used all the notes. I was deliberately trying to use them all, and in many bass lines the best approach is actually to use a few, just play less. Octave, 5th, flat 7. I like naming them that way because you can move them around. I've moved to C now, that's still the root, and that's still the 5th, and that's still the flat 7. This next exercise uses exactly the same notes but a hammer-on between the G and the A, the flat 7, and the root. And that's again that 1st to 2nd finger. That's a stretch there. That's the point where you might have to bend your wrist a bit and get a bit of pain there, so just be careful. You want to develop the muscles so that you feel comfortable doing this. So it's the hammer on, then we're plucking on the A string, C sharp to E. I'm very much visualizing that as one pattern. 1, 2, 1, 4, if I'm talking finger numbers, starting on a G. And then I do the same thing here. It's 1, 2, 1, 4, starting on the G. Same notes, just up the octave. That's not easy. This isn't an easy lesson. This isn't an easy exercise. That's a tough one, that. But it's brilliant for moving you from the 3rd fret all the way to the 9th in just one go. Here is another shape from the overall mega shape, and it is a major pentatonic. Well, not quite. This is major pentatonic A. Add that note in, the C natural, and you get a major blues scale. And this exercise skips some strings. So you have fret 5 and 7, the A to the B, and then we're missing out the A string, jumping to the D and playing F sharp A, frets 4 to 7. Now just focusing in on that, I'm going index, middle, index, middle. I'm alternating between putting my thumb on the pickup or the string, or using this floating thumb to mute. Do what you feel comfortable with. I'm going index, middle, and then the index has got quite a long way to travel. So that finger's kind of flying out a bit, and you've got to get used to that when you're crossing a string. Same thing happens here. When you get to the top there, we're just coming down the scale. That's a great workout because you're using all 4 fingers. Last one, we have a hammer on, and we have some ghost notes and some 16th notes as well. Hammer on between frets 3 and 5, the G to the A. I was just using my little finger for the hammer on, but you can use your 3rd, whatever you feel comfortable with. After that, we've got C, followed by a ghost note. Use more than one finger to play the ghost notes so you don't get accidental harmonics or overtones. After the C and then ghost note, it's C sharp and then ghost note, and then D. You could even put a ghost note after the D. Or notated. Rest. That with the backing track sounds good. There I was combining all of those ideas into a bass line. It's not that of a realistic bass line because we're just stuck on a static A7 chord for the whole thing. I don't know how many times that really happens in music, but it's just good practice to A, get your technique together so that you can just play anything you want at any time, you know, so hammer-ons, 16th notes, hammer-ons, ghost notes. You want all of those techniques under your fingers, and this is a good way to practice that. Combine them. There I was just using a bit of that A major pentatonic scale and just playing the notes in different orders. I love that. There's a Steely Dan tune, I forget where he does that, the bass player does that. So whenever you're on a major chord, or particularly a dominant 7 chord, that's a move that you can do. So you're on the E string, playing A in this example, and I can just see it. So the fret lower than the A, so in this case the 4th fret, on the G string, so we're jumping massively from the E to the G, you just play chromatically from that fret 2 up. Just play those 3 notes. That always sounds really bluesy, R&B, soul. It sounds great. Do that on any root. I like pattern lessons because you can do that. You can move them 2 different chords. So even though this lesson is just based on one chord that's not moving at all, do make sure you know all the notes and all the patterns on different roots. We'll leave that there. I'll put a link right here to last week's lesson, which was the same pattern broken down. I have now a blues course, a R&B soul Motown course, and a funk course. And all those styles are very related. You can interchange some of the patterns and the way you play it. I love those. So if you are interested in taking any of those courses, they're video lessons with a workbook, and I break down lots of bass lines and patterns and theory and stuff like that. I'll put a link below. Any questions, do let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next lesson. Thank you.